My name is Edd Presnell, and I am 56 years old, and I have been married for almost 38 years. And there were several different people in this area that used to make dulcimers, Roby Hicks, and Nathan Hicks, and Ben Hicks, my father-in-law, and I believe that was about all when I started making them. I don't believe there's any made in this area here till it was around about 75 years ago. An old fella by the name of Millard Oliver come through here with one. And they said he could play one of them good enough. He could start playing that thing and pick up while he threw the thing plumb around over his head and never lose a tune on him. But that was before my time, and I never did know where. I never did hear nobody say where he come from. My grandpa married his sister. It wasn't my grandma now. It was his last wife. He was married 4 times. My father-in-law is where I learned from what I learned. I mostly just had to do it myself. I had one of his to look at to work by. And the patterns that I use now I made myself. And I made them for about, 10 or 15, maybe 20 years from the old pattern that my father-in-law had. And how many I made up until I went to making them full time, I don't know. I didn't start doing any record on them or numbering them until 1956. And since then I have done about 952. And that was about the time I started doing full-time work on them. There are lots of things involved in making one. For the first thing, you got to make a selection of woods. Of course, there is not too much difference in the woods. You can use walnut or cherry, chestnut, bird's eye maple, or rosewood, or sassafras, poplar, cucumber, cedar, elm. I've used practically everything for them. There's not too much difference in the sound. Even if you made them all out of the same wood, you get a different sound slightly from each one of them anyway. When I first started making them, they had to be made out of poplar or cucumber one. Otherwise, they'd have no sound. I made the first ones made around here out of curly maple, and they laughed at me about that, and I started ways, but didn't have enough sound for anything. It had to be poplar, and if there's any way to get it, it had to come out of an old log house, sawed out of them old logs, so it would be aged. Of course, the good aged wood is good. There are more things involved in making one than actually meets the eye just by looking at one. First, you gotta bend the set aside. You gotta boil them. You bend them around the press. You can let them stay there about 2 weeks unless you have artificial heat to dry them. And then you put the back on before you take them out of the press. And then you get the end piece on, and then you put the fretboard neck, you put front boards on it before you put it on the back. And then that is all glued together. And when you get that done, you're about half done on it. So that's when the small, fine work starts on the sanding and finishing and doing the little carvings and trimming up on it. And you're involved about between 30 and 40 hours actual time in making one besides waiting on the glue. And if you just started to make one, it would take a part of 2 weeks to get it done. I believe that will about take care of what they are involved in making a dulcimer.